G'day, friends and fans. Welcome to an interview with, I'm your host, the author, David Applegate, author of the book, The Boyhood of Cade, book one of the Empire of Elves, and welcome to my channel. Before I begin, I'd like to remind you that this channel is sponsored by people like you, the view audience. So please, after the show, check out the links in the description. More details at the end of the show. Today with me is the author, Saddletramp. Introduce yourself to the audience, please.
Oh, good morning. Well, actually, it's afternoon. I think it's morning where you're at, isn't it, David?
It is morning indeed.
Well, it's afternoon where I'm at here in cloudy and wet North Idaho. But hey, it's another day. It's a great day, and we're just having a good time here.
Yep. Now, Idaho, that's the one with the bumpy, that's the potato state, the one with the odd border, right? The odd shaped border.
Yes, it is.
On the west coast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody the other day said that border's Biden sniffing hair, and you can't unsee it.
I remember reading somewhere, I don't remember where, but you know, the panhandle, the northern part of the state where I'm at.
Yeah.
Originally, from what I understand, Washington and Montana were supposed to border each other, but somewhere along the line, somebody screwed up the surveying, and so that's how Idaho got that.
It was a doodle on the map. Somebody doodled a guy holding a pan on the map, right? And that became part of the map. It was a doodle. And it's still there today. It's a doodle inbuilt into the US map. It is amazing how many people don't know this, but yes, there's a doodle on the US map, people. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's like, how did that happen? And well, it happened because you had a couple of wise asses goofing off. And have you ever been in the military?
Well, they were probably drunk at the time too. So
yeah. But I'm just saying, anybody who's been in the military will go, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as a side note, the most warsy thing in Star Wars is when one trooper says to another, "It's probably a drill or something."
yeah, that's it.
That's the most accurate. It's amazing stuff. But there's so much trivia out there in the world that you can make a whole movie every day about some of these trivial stories. And they would make great comedies. But
yep, it would.
Unfortunately, most people would only laugh at the one or two situations that apply to them.
Yeah, that's
just
true.
Like Seinfeld.
Yeah.
So I've looked over some of your work. I medium last night, and yeah, pretty impressive. So when did you realize you wanted to become a writer?
Oh, I've always wanted to be a writer ever since I was a kid. Unfortunately, I grew up and life got in the way, and I realized that I had to make a living. You know, so so my plans at writing the great American novel ended up getting put on the back burner for probably, I'd say, about 62 years roughly. And I got started posting stuff over at Literotica, which is everything there is free. So I started posting there, and I've learned a lot, an awful lot, in the last 5.5 years, and you know, I've gotten in touch with some wonderful people, and learned an awful lot in the process. And then about I'd say 2.5 years ago, I think, is when I decided to see if I could make a buck or two doing this writing thing. And so I wrote Justice Rides. That was back in 2022. And that was well received. And so I've just built on from there. and I just finished Tabitha Prime, which is actually my 8th ebook.
Yeah.
And that weighs in, the ebook weighs in at 400 pages. And the paperback version, which I'm just getting up to Amazon now, that weighs in at about 378 pages. And that's the longest story I have ever written in my entire life. And I've been working on that since last November, early last November. And I got to tell you, I have learned a lot in writing these short little stories, and I enjoy it. That's the main reason I do it, is because I love to write. I love to tell stories. So, and I hope to keep going for some time yet to come.
I think there's a storyteller in everybody. It goes back to when all we had was the word.
Yep.
And all we could do to entertain each other was talk, fight, or fornicate.
Yep, that's about it.
Which comes to the post the other day, and I swear it was aimed at me, because nobody else, and it was like engagement 1. It was like, huh? And it's basically saying, oh, you only write erotica because it's of the shock value, and the shock value does not make your writing good. And I'm going, that's a weird thing to say. And then suddenly, it dawned on me that, and yes, there's a lot of people who look down on it, but I am so sick of soft core porn hidden as G-rated material because they use the right word.
Well,
they call it mummy porn.
Yeah,
they call it mummy porn.
Yeah, well, in my case, it's for some writers of erotica, I think they focus more on the physical interaction than they do the background, the story.
Well, most of mine most don't have a story, but I have a story, and there's actually a meaning and purpose to my main character's interactions. He's a satyr, okay? He's
right.
He's
well, in my case,
yeah.
Well, in my case, for example, Tabitha Prime, that's the most recent story of a man who was cheated on by his first wife, 16 years earlier. And when he caught her, the man she was cheating on him with tried to kill him, but he defended himself and ended up killing the guy who wanted to kill him. And so this is the latest installment. Tabitha, the original Tabitha. Well, let me back up. The Tabitha in this story is a clone that was created by an alien race. And excuse me, she was scientifically enhanced to be what she is now, or at least in my story. And she has one overriding goal, and that's to kill Bill Jones, kill Bill, right?
Yeah.
Her desire to do that is driven by revenge for what Bill did to his ex-wife's lover. So anyway, but that's the background of that story, and it just goes from there. She, this clone, develops a bomb that will destroy the sun, and in the process destroy the solar system. So his job is to stop her and bring her into custody. So that's the story of Tabitha Prime.
Yeah, tell me more about your books. You got quite a few now.
Well, yeah, Tabitha Prime would be my 7th. No, I'm sorry, 8th. Justice Rides was my first, and that's about a Civil War soldier who was shot dead in 1864. And the battle actually happened, the Battle of Browns Mill. actually happened, and he was shot at that battle. And then he finds out that has been recruited by an immortal being to help dispense justice in this world. And and it turns out the reason I link these two together down below is because Eli Jones and Bill Jones, the hero in Tabitha Prime, are actually related. So the story continues to continue. It just goes on and on. Yep.
Yeah. There's it's I think you can have independent stories that are linked and let the reader discover or not, but you've got quite a few here. The Kempler incident.
Yes, that is the story that leads up to Tabitha Prime. And in that one, we have a science vessel that went off the grid 4 years earlier, and they get a single communication packet. So they send Bill and the Enterprise out to investigate, and what they find is quite interesting. That book was actually part of a series, the third in a series of what's known as the sexy shipwreck stories. And there's a group of us. We call ourselves the Erotica Consortium. And for the last, I'd say, couple of years now, roughly, we've been putting together anthologies, seasonal anthologies, Valentine, Christmas, summer, so on, Halloween. And this was a project that we did where each one of us wrote our own ebook and put it out there as a series. And mine was the Kepler incident, and it's the third story in the series.
There's a astronomical phenomenon known as the Kepler belt. I just can't remember. Is it stars or a series of stars? I think, isn't it, the Kepler belt?
Well, yeah, there is, but there's also an area of space around Earth, which is like a magnetic field. Yeah,
that extends to Neptune, and it's tilted it's 30 astronomical units, and it's got a hollow, so between 30 and 50 astronomical units. It's huge. Mass is 20 to 30 times. 200 times. Well, the estimate it ranges, but 200 times Earth. It is thinly spread. Whoops. I think Larry's frozen for a moment. Yeah. Okay. Well, just go back over. Justice Rides Rules, the story of a tyrannical cult who destroyed a man's marriage. The Balak series, Son of Balak and Balak Returns, is about a man trapped on Earth in the time of Noah trying to rebuild his following, subjugate the planet. The Premonition, story of a man who's cuckolded by demons and learns of her evil plan to destroy him. The Kepler incident, determined science vessel that disappeared 4 years earlier. Tabitha Prime is actually available on pre-release. It'll go live on March 10th and will be in paperback. It's a continuation of the saga. Hopefully, Bill will be back shortly. Links, of course, are all going to be in the description. And hopefully you'll all check them out. Also, you can follow Bill on Twitter, which I think is right down. Mm-hmm. Okay. And he has over 224 stories on Literotica. That's all. He's been writing a lot and for a while. Yeah. Yeah, more about Saddletramp. Yeah, Larry is 67, served 10 years in the US Marine Corps, married twice, divorced once, been married for 37 years, has 2 children and 5 grandchildren. Yeah, most of his work was technical writing. He started writing in 2018. So it's never too late to start. And as it says, he has 7 published ebooks, 1 in paperback on Amazon. He's contributed to 6 seasonal anthologies. Naughty and Spice was in the final voting round for the Golden Pigtail Smut Award. Oh, yeah, Golden Pigtail, man. Oh, on Literotica, yeah. And hopefully, any minute now, Larry will be back. He probably had to reboot. I'm sorry. So while we're at it, oops. Why can't you find it? Did I spell it wrong? It's because, okay, I spelled it wrong. Okay, try again. Normally, people, when they crash out, can come back, but oh, okay. He's probably had to reboot his phone completely. But sorry, Larry. But trying to bring up his book, and it just keeps not. Not wanting to. Something wrong with Amazon? Is it me? Am I offline? No, don't think so. There we go. Here's Tabitha Prime. Year is 2109. Tabitha, a devious, vengeful clone of Bill Jones' long-dead wife, has developed a powerful weapon that can destroy stars along with planetary systems. With it, she secured her position as a prime director in the Merck Interstellar Corporation. Her perception goes beyond absolute power or fabulous wealth. She wants revenge for the death of Bill Travers, the man she cut a deal with years ago on the USS Armstrong. In addition to killing B. Jones, she seeks to destroy the entire system so she can plunder Earth. Fast forward 5 years, Bill is promoted, given taking command of task force sent to stop Tabitha and her evil plan, but she has other issues like a drug-addicted, mentally unstable admiral who also has a axe to grind with Bill, a starship upgraded with barely tested alien technology, and a far-off chance of starting Earth's interstellar war. Yeah. So hopefully Bill can't reconnect. He's having network issues, folks. Sorry about that. We'll see. He can text message, but he can't reconnect. Hopefully, I'm waiting for him to reconnect. And hopefully that will be a moment or two away. Everybody has network issues occasionally, but yeah, lately a lot of people have been having network issues. Okay, I'm going to read out the questions and answers while he tries to reconnect. Well, I asked Bill what he wants to do, and I gave him a bunch of questions. And so I asked him how he prepares for a new book. And Bill said he likes to do a combination of storyboard and outlining. So he's a plotter, not a pantster. And he also researches online and writes to see where the story takes him. Right, so he's a chaotic plotter. What are your inspirations? He's inspired by a lot of things. Sometimes it's something he read or a song in his head. That's, yeah, pretty much how it goes. Bill, do you have a favorite writer or book? Bill writes C.S. Forrester, the Hornblower series. Ah, yes. What a champ. Hornblower was much like, what's his name? The writer of Tarzan, Burroughs. Yes. They were once the rock stars. They were rock stars in their day. How do you? Oh yes. What research do you do for your books? Ask questions out of order. Sorry. Yes, and Google. Bill. Google is my best friend. Also, talk to people and get familiar with certain subjects. Yes, write what you know, Bill, and get to know what you write. And here it is. Here's Larry.
Hey, all right. Well, I'm using my phone.
Just talking about C.S. Forrester. He was the J.K. Rowling of his day. He was very famous. So was C.S. Lewis and Edgar Burroughs.
Yes. I enjoyed. I remember reading the Hornblower series when I was a kid, and I thoroughly enjoyed, especially the battle scenes. I mean that guy could describe some battle scenes like nobody's business. I tell you.
You think it was Lord Admiral Nelson himself writing the report?
Darn near.
We got him.
Yes. Well, oddly enough, that series, the Hornblower series, was actually part of the inspiration for my stories with Bill Jones. Bill Jones is kind of like my hornblower, if you will.
And it has been made into a TV series by the British.
It has.
Didn't do it really justice, but
no, they didn't. But it wasn't bad. I mean, they they
were working with TV budgets, so bring all the battles to life would have been hard.
Yes, it would have. But they did a good job with it, nevertheless. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. a lot of people don't know this, and I'm sick and tired of Star Wars people making the comparison. But John Carter of Mars came first, people.
Yes.
And
yes. Edgar Rice Burroughs. Yes.
Edgar Rice Burroughs is the man, not George Lucas. George Lucas is a Kurosawa knockoff.
Yes. Well,
And
you'll get no argument
I'm
from
old
me.
enough, yeah, and I'm old enough to have gone to the cinema to see written and directed by George Lucas, and then 20 years later see him putting his arm around Cassidy and saying, "I couldn't have done it without him." Really?
Yep.
Because you didn't give your wife credit either, and you wonder why you're divorced. Yeah.
Amazing how that works, isn't it?
Yeah. Amazing, right? You get your wife to bail you out, she gets the Oscar, and you have a hissy fit.
That's right. That's right.
I am sick and tired of people looking up to the opportunists and not the creators.
Yeah.
Though it is changing. A lot of people, a lot of creators. I saw an interview the other day, and they said, even if you're the worst writer, you can do better than Hollywood. And that hasn't happened in a long time.
No, and I'm sure there's a lot of truth to that statement.
It's true. I'm not just looking at, say, Japanese manga, how it's the world's #1, or how, but there are independent video game creators who are now making sales that 10 years ago people would have only dreamed of, Palworld getting 25 million sales.
Oh,
I mean, when I was a kid, the video games didn't make a profit. They were vanity projects.
Yeah, they were. They were
vanity projects. If you sold 100,000 copies, you were considered a success.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to sell 100,000 copies of my books.
Same. But we're living in a world of artificial reality and this is true. I've seen it myself, where people on Twitter I've seen tweets from people I've never subscribed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I see the level of engagement they get. And they don't have the promoted logo on it,
Right. Yep. I hear you there. So
the algorithms, if somebody's getting promoted, that means somebody else is getting demoted, because the whole point of Twitter originally was to take every tweet that hour and give it equal viewing across all the subscribers.
I think, and I've heard from, I don't know if you've experienced this, but I know I have, and I know a lot of other writers who have as well. For the longest time, Twitter was the best tool that independent authors could have, because we could put out links for stories, and they would actually get traction. People would see them, and people would buy our stuff. But with this algorithm change, I don't know about you, but I know myself and a lot of others have seen our engagement drop to, oh my gosh, I'd say maybe less than 1% of the people who follow us. Have you seen that?
I have seen complaint after complaint every day. And it's the same thing. What have you done, Elon? What have you done?
And I know a lot of people have tried moving over to other platforms like Blue Sky or Mastodon, but to be honest,
it's worse.
Yeah. To be honest, the traction just isn't there anymore. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, to tell you the truth. I'd rather, Elon just put things back the way they were, when he took over.
But I believe just after he took over, this new algorithm has been forced on him by the EU, that it's not under Twitter control. The algorithm is under EU control.
Oh yeah, that's right. They've got that
Even if Elon wasn't the owner, that digital millennial it's the Digital Millennial Act 2 or something. It's the second rewrite or the third rewrite of the Digital Millennial Act.
Yeah, I remember reading about that, but but the way I see it is, we'll just keep plugging, and I know, that's one of the things I would tell, a new, somebody just starting, to write, who's maybe, got some questions, they don't know, where to start, what to do. And that, what I would tell them is just, what, just keep at it, because what the way things are now, uh, in the digital age, modern digital age, you don't know what it's going to be like tomorrow or next week or next month or next year. Who knows?
Yeah, look, a lot of writers chase fads. You look at how many, like, they call them clone stories. A lot of your detective novels are all reskins these days. 90% of your romance is reskin. They're clones, and in some cases they're a Xerox of a Xerox. Sometimes it works. Star Wars, Star Trek, but it works because those IPs had no competition.
Right.
Now that there's competition to those IPs, and we're not just competing against. See, when you write a story, you're not just competing against film, you're competing against video games, you could be comic books, manga.
Yeah.
Online, all the online content.
Yeah. But the way I see that though, David, is, competition like that drives me to at least try to put together something different, something new, or maybe step outside the box just a bit, and maybe explore something that hasn't been explored before.
Yeah, I've tried different things. I've tried different platforms. I've tried different ways of communicating to the audience, though, like you said, and it's the problem is getting that engagement, that initial engagement.
Yeah.
And I think social media isn't as big as they're telling us. I think.
Well, yeah, it's well, it is big, but the thing is that when you stop and think about how many people on social media really truly get into the tweets and engage with the people who's putting them out.
That's what I mean. It's not. It may be wide as an ocean, but it's deep as a puddle.
Yeah. I think you've got something there, and and that's one of the reasons why I started up my own website this year, and I started up my own Substack this year because I want to engage with the people who take the time and perhaps even spend the money to read my books, or take the time to maybe go to Literotica or go to Medium, like like you did, and that way I can engage with those people directly, and that's what.
I started on Write On,
Mm.
and I'd finished my first book, and I noticed, where's the publish button? Right as I finish, right? The next day, the publish button's gone.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And then we get the notice. You have 1 month before we shut down.
Oh, my gosh.
There's a lot of platforms like that. But when the biggest do it, that's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know Twitter, the engagement, I believe, like I said, there's something wrong with the algorithms. I do believe that absolutely, because the engagement's skewed to the 1%.
Yeah, it's very skewed. It really is. But we just keep plugging. That's the thing.
Yeah,
We
that's what we
keep
do.
at it,
Yeah,
we keep plugging, and I think YouTube channels like yours and Rumble and all that.
yeah,
I think all of that helps.
yeah, absolutely. But I'm thinking I may have to get on Substack and publish there.
It would help. It really would help. I have
I
noticed because what I do is I do a weekly thing where uh, it's not all just advertising. Yeah, I'll plug a book there, sure. I'll plug my latest work, sure. You know, let people know what I'm up to and what I'm doing and what I've got going on. But most of what I like to do in my Substack is just, it's kind of like what you and I are doing right now. We're just, a couple guys sitting back having a discussion, and that's kind of what I want my Substack to be like. Is I want to engage with the readers. I want to let them know, hey, this is what's going on. Sure, yeah, I've got this, great new book I want you to buy, but that's not all. Um, that's not all that Saddletramp is all about.
yeah,
Um, so that's kind of what I use the Substack for, and and it started small, sure, but it's growing, and I hope to see a lot more people show up there. A lot more people, take a look at what I've got going on. Maybe look at even if they look at the stuff I wrote for free, you know,
mm,
5 years ago on Literotica, and as cringy as it may seem now, um, you know, I, I just want people to enjoy themselves, you know, and walk away from my stories feeling, yeah, I can, I can see that, I can enjoy that. Um, so Twitter, who knows what Twitter's going to do tomorrow or the next day or next month or next year? Who
or
knows?
what the government will do to Twitter, because I
Yeah,
firmly believe Twitter is no longer in control of their algorithm.
yeah. You're probably closer to right there than you know. I mean that's
I believe
uh,
the EU has taken control using a rewritten version of the Digital Millennial Act, which is basically a re-skinned Copyright Act for digital material, where a company known as Digital DRM could digitally scan all your material and determine whether or not you violated somebody's copyright and then shake them down for it. But I
yeah,
also believe, right, in with that is the national security provisions, where they want to fight hate speech, disinformation, and other sources of alternative news which
yeah,
do not fit their narrative. Russia.
yeah.
Yeah,
Calf, yes.
yeah.
So,
Or whistleblowers. I mean,
mhm,
you're old enough to seen all the whistleblowers, the
oh
Whistleblower
yeah,
Act, and all that. Yet
yeah,
we still today see whistleblowers persecuted, journalists jailed, and it's almost as if, and yet the Supreme Court doesn't say, "Hey, we already settled this argument.
mhm,
You got to let him go." No, we settled this argument. No, every
yeah,
decade it seems to be. And I forget his name. He was a German, and he's basically said in the 1800s, the height of ignorance is to try to answer a question that has already been answered.
right,
If we
right,
have an answer, we know the answer works.
mhm,
Why are we keep asking the same questions?
yeah,
Now, I can answer that in saying that there are a certain group of people, they are contrarian by nature, therefore they don't accept answers. They always want to, they look at the imperfection in the world and say, oh, if we just add this one more law, or this one more law, and one
right,
more
right,
law, And all of a sudden, society's collapsed under the weight of law.
Yeah. Well, we're about there now.
Yeah. I mean, last time I checked, the very nature of a criminal is to not obey the law.
Well, yeah, that's the short definition anyway.
Yeah. And as far as I know, they keep pointing to my country about how gun laws work. I'm sorry, we don't publish, but yes, our murder rate did dip, but it was already dipping. Everybody's murder rate was dipping, and we found that lead paint was the cause of violent impulses in people, and we also found that high levels of alcoholism were causing violent impulses in people, and high levels of drug use were causing it. And as drug and alcohol use and other factors, better medication, better mental health, our murder rate was coming down. What happened? Oh, we decided to shut down those facilities because, ta-da, we achieved success.
Yep. Welcome to the 21st century.
Where we have ignorant people trying to answer questions that have already been answered.
Right.
It's like we don't need a reboot of Babylon 5. We have Babylon 5. We don't need a reboot of Battlestar Galactica. We had multiple Battlestar Galacticas, one of which you refused to finish on religious grounds because you did not like the ending, basically.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't like the ending, so they scrapped it. This has happened with multiple TV shows all the time. Earth 2. Yeah. There is. Do you think the prejudice in TVs is just against adult material? No, they would love to show adult material. They would rather show adult material than sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's the government. The government is cracking down. That's why the government controls how many TV stations there are. And you think, Dave, I've got 500 channels. Yeah, but 6 people own them.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. That's
and
true.
Those 6 people live at the largesse of the government because the vast majority of advertising come from 3 places. Over 75% of their advertising is around 75 billion. Right? That's a drop in the ocean for Google, but for Fox, CBS, etc., that's $75 billion is a lot of money to them. It comes from unions, corporations, and government.
Yep.
Doesn't come from us. Our $5. Why run a $5 ad on Google? Right? It's a drop in the ocean.
Well, Google. I think I read somewhere that Google and Amazon and Facebook, between those 3, they control something like 85 to 90% of all of the advertising on the
of ads. Yeah, 91% of ads, ad revenue.
Yeah.
And that little bit left, 75 million, about 10% of that is about 75 million, right?
Yep.
Of what's left. And 3/4 of that goes to the big TV stations.
Yeah, a bunch of it does.
So our $5 ads are worthless. But here's the thing. By law, they have to tell you the engagement, right? For the ads. They have to give you the rates, right? And what you expect. And I showed people, and I got into trouble for this, right? I showed Facebook's back end on the ads and the engagement and all the other data that they give you, Digital Analytica. $30 at peak time, 750 clicks they'll give you. At low off peak, 1,280. But the thing is, ad response. Look at the ad response, 1 to 7. If you're an author getting 1 to 7 responses, what's your conversion rate? Less than 1%. So you have to do the same ad 10 times to possibly sell one book.
Yep.
That book has better be, that's why you see $200 technical manuals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Technical manuals have to advertise because they can't get results. They can't, for some reason, all these algorithms.
And you know, and when you're talking technical manuals, you have to, you know, somebody actually has to be looking, you know, for that specific manual for that specific thing, whatever it is, in order to attract that person. So yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But even then, right? This is why some authors struggle with titles, because the title, the longer the title, I found this out, is a big mistake, because the Boyhood of Cade, well, now I'm going to get every book with boyhood in it, every book with Cade in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And as more books come out, it pushes the originals down. Why? Because Google always promote the latest first.
Right. Right.
And it's the same with technical manuals. You have to be so specific in the title, but even then, the more words in the title, the more results you get, and it's pushed down, which is why you see the Toyota manual come out every year, so it's fresh.
I think we
call
lost
it
you.
revamping. Okay, I see you moving, but it's jittering. Right.
Oh, there you are. There you are. I lost you for a second.
Yeah, they call it revamping, and some books have started doing it too. You know, where they take it down, wait 6 months, put it back up again with a new title or a new cover.
Yeah, I don't like that. That aggravates me. You know, yeah. I mean, I can understand if you've got an ebook. I can understand changing a cover of an ebook periodically. In fact, I've read, you know, things. You know, people who specialize in Amazon sales. You know, they talk a lot about things like that, like periodically changing a cover or periodically changing the categories that the book is in, you know, to help get it more visible. I've resisted that. I have considered it a time or two, but I've resisted doing that just because, you know, something about that just doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah, I think revamping is a fad. I think they're just taking advantage of the current algorithm that, you know, whatever is latest. And unfortunately, it'll be like keywords. You know, remember when keywords was all you needed?
Mm-hmm.
Remember when it was a catchy title was all you needed?
Yeah.
Remember when all you had to do was publish an ebook and you'd be on the front page for a day?
Yeah. Yeah.
They keep changing, and everybody keeps complaining because when you the market is bigger and it's only going to get bigger. Amazon is too big. It's a failed enterprise that has never made a profit, or it's relied constantly on subsidies and investors and loans and subscription fees. And you look at it, we'll give you 70% revenue, question mark, if you do this. And basically, in the end, that you're not getting 70%. You're getting 70% less. You're getting 70% after they deduct from the sale price the hosting fee. They didn't have a hosting fee originally. They didn't have a distribution fee or an advertising fee or any of those things.
Yeah.
Well,
in Tabitha Prime, for example, I noticed, because it had been a while, you know, since I had put up a paperback, right? most of my works are ebooks.
Yeah.
Um, but when I put Tabitha Prime up for the paperback version, I saw something new, and that was the extended distribution. And
Yes.
so I thought, well, okay, this is anything to help get my book a little bit more visibility, right?
Yeah.
And so I went ahead and selected that, and then I realized how little I would actually make off of each sale in that extended distribution.
You add
And
up, yeah, you add up the listed sales for some people's book, and they don't match how much they got paid for publicly
right,
for that book.
well,
We're
oh no,
paying
not
for
not
that.
even close, not even close. But
Yeah.
I mean,
But
that's the way it is now. But I'm grateful that at least there's a chance that I can get my book beyond
it's a
Amazon.
yes. And I
So
have yeah.
I'm grateful for that anyway.
Yeah, I have a digital print distribution. I have a Spotify audiobook distribution and a ebook distribution through uh, Books to Read,
Okay,
basically. And sometimes they've overlapped. Sometimes
yeah,
the companies in their over enthusiasm have published where I've said don't publish because I'm already published there, like Barnes and Noble. So sometimes I'm showing up multiple times because,
right,
and other times I'm not showing up at all. It's still very new, this advanced distribution, obviously,
yeah,
and there's
it
got a
is,
lot
it
of
is.
mistakes.
And it's gonna evolve over the years. Who knows where it's gonna be this time 6 months from now or a year from now? Who knows? You know?
Yeah,
um,
and the key is research, and I believe, as you said, Google's your best friend.
it is, it is.
But yeah, we were talking earlier about advice to new writers, and yeah, you just keep going away at it, right?
That's it. You start with one word and you go until your story is told. And don't I tell people, listen to the critics that give you constructive criticism.
Yeah,
Listen to them. I listen to them, and I may not like everything that people tell me. That's
yeah,
natural. That's only normal.
yeah,
But but I listen. Okay. Um, and then I tell them, don't ignore the trolls. Just forget about the trolls, because you're going to have those as well. But don't listen to the people who tell you that you're no good, you can't do it, because you can always improve. You can always get better. But the only way you're going to get better is to start with that first word and keep going. That's the only way you're going to get better.
it's amazing how many people tell me they wrote a book in private, of course, because of the fame of a certain person. And when they finally got around to reading that certain person's book, they actually found it to be quite trash and thought they could do better.
Yeah.
Here's the problem, new writer. You don't have, unless you've got a social network of 1 million people, you went to a posh school, a posh university, and you were head of a big company, thus you have a big network, a big access to a big PR company, and
Right.
that is, do not expect that your story, no matter how good it is, will get the same treatment.
That's
So
right.
don't give up because you
Don't give
do
up.
not get the same treatment from the media unless you went to the same posh schools, the same posh universities, and be in the same posh clique and have access to that those very very few select PR firms.
Right.
And
Right.
and and I know this is illegal, but they do it. a certain person's book was not selling well and it sat on the shelf for 4 years. They engaged Bill Gates's PR firm, and he has 19 of them, and they retweeted each other.
Yep.
Giving it 1 million hits. That's illegal. That is what is it? It's manipulative marketing, isn't it? Or something like that.
Something like that. And of course, each country has different laws, regarding that kind of thing.
I know in the United States it's not illegal, but I do know in parts of Europe it is.
Yeah.
To artificially inflate. It's artificial inflation. If you have market manipulation laws, they have market manipulation laws, which I don't think are in the United States, where you can't get your own company. You can't hire somebody to tweet your own tweets, and then they can't hire somebody to do it either. But that's what PR firms basically are. They're market manipulators. They create an artificial buzz. Now, you used to be, as a writer, you used to have to create book launches.
Right.
Because believe it or not, most of your famous authors, they were journalists, spies, like Hemingway was a spy recruited by the British to go to the Spanish to spy on the Spanish Civil War. And basically, a lot of journalists, they get a book, and basically, their big corporations, PR firms, puts their hand in the back and says, "Don't worry, we got you."
Yeah.
So, if you're a small writer, this is what you're up against. So, don't let it get you down, because believe it or not, most of those people, they don't make money either.
Right. Yeah.
Otherwise, they would still be journalists. They wouldn't. They wouldn't be giving up their day job, would they? If they were making money.
Well, I know I'm not giving up my day job, and that's what I would tell young. Don't give up your day job, okay?
Because they're not.
Yeah.
You see them. None of them. Most of these big writers.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, J.K. Rowling got $1 billion deal. Yeah, but she made her money. She was already rich and making money off property. All she did was buy more property. She didn't make money off a book. She made money off a deal. There's a difference.
With me, that's when people ask me why I do what I do. I mean, it's easy. I love to write. I love to tell stories, and that's it. I mean, if someone likes my stuff well enough to buy it, hey, that's gravy. That's icing on the cake.
Absolutely.
And that's it. So, but no, don't give up your day job. I haven't, and I probably won't. No matter how well Tabitha Prime does. Okay. But no, like I said, I do it because I love to write, and I think most authors are the same. They do it because they love to put a story down on paper.
Yes, me, I started writing young, and I rarely tell people this, but I don't have a day job. I'm mentally ill. I can't be employed. I am a danger to myself. I'll zone out. I'll forget. I'll muddle things up. Something you may think is important, and if I don't think it's important, I won't do it. I just forget about it.
Right.
It's not the kind of person you want. Plus I'm slow. My pace is slow. I can't even do 42 words per minute, and that's pushing it. That's
right.
A lot of my you basically you don't have any errors the average person makes. We'll multiply that by 10.
Okay.
When I write, my work needs heavy editing at best.
Oh gosh, I think mine does too, and I'm fortunate in that I have some good friends that are also beta readers, and they'll catch things pretty
Same,
quick.
same. But yeah, a lot of people look at me and say, "Oh, you're a healthy boy, Dave." I'm actually 55.
Well,
And it, see, that's the thing. It's the invisible disease, mental illness,
gotcha.
and yeah, and it's like writing's a very good cathartic outlet, I think.
It
That and
certainly
violent
is.
video games.
I have found that to be very true as well.
Yeah,
Very true.
gets all the pent up ideas,
Hmm.
all places that you
Except
can't explore otherwise.
except with me when once I finish a story, and well, of course you're never really finished with it, right? But once I hit that button, then something weird happens. I start thinking about, well, what would happen next?
It's already happening. It's already happening. I've got all the
Yeah,
mayhem, the magic, the
yeah,
dragons, the
yeah,
technology. I've pumped out hundreds of articles and stuff, and refining and redefining, and I'm constantly changing and fixing, and I've deleted more than I've written.
you and me both.
I I think that I I hate to say it, but I've tried my hand at different genres, and I hate to say, but it literally hurt trying to write some of this tripe out
Right.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I know what you mean.
I understand. However, what the meaning behind the customer is always right. The customer is always right when it comes to a matter of like. They know what
Right.
they like.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Mm-hmm.
I can't write that, that's on me, not on
Right.
them.
Yeah,
Modern
that's
Hollywood,
true.
however, seems to think that you have to belittle and insult those who don't like their tribe.
Right.
People say, Dave, your stories aren't diverse. Really? You've never read one. How do you know?
Yep, I hear you. Well, uh-oh. My battery is about to go dead.
All right.
So,
Well, how do you deal with stress? And yeah, we'll finish up. Just tell us how you
well,
deal with stress and what you do to,
yeah, well, with
basically.
me, I like to go for a long walk. Sometimes it's spending time with my wife. Um, and if all else fails, I'll take my muzzle loader out and pop a few rounds. I find that always makes me feel better.
It's illegal. Being mentally ill, it's illegal for me to own or operate a firearm. So I've got Doom, and I get to unload with a minigun.
Yeah, there you go.
Minigun go brr. I think a lot more people would be a lot happier if they read a book instead of watching the movie.
Mhm.
To be
Mhm.
honest, I remember. I really feel sad for some of these big writers out there who have got made it big and then lost it all, or basically the royalties suck. Just
Yeah.
do your research. Don't let these big publishers control you or own you, because they have no intention of making you rich. They have
Yeah.
none
No,
whatsoever.
that's true. Yep,
Um,
that's
I,
true.
yeah, they so just uh, it's hard. got to, if you do, however, want to be rich and famous, you've got to get yourself an agent, and you've got to be prepared for disappointment, because you're going to be told to rewrite and rewrite and rewrite, and your passion project will turn into McDonald's. McDonald's of stories. I have seen it. I've had people. If you spend long enough on Twitter, you'll see people complaining about it. I can't point to somebody, but somebody did recently say they walked away from a contract, and absolutely, that will happen. About 1 in 100 writers will be even offered a contract. 70% of contracts go to women now. That's so it's not about equality, folks. And I hate to say it, but if you see a YouTube ad on telling you to take this course on writing, go the other way. Don't engage with AI courses. They are all scams. Nobody can tell you how to write a bestseller, because we have bestsellers like Tarzan. They did this. They reskinned Tarzan, put it on the shelf. Nobody bought it. Today's bestseller is tomorrow's bargain basement.
Exactly.
Anybody tells you that, sorry.
I'm getting down to less than 10% on my battery here. I'm getting a little.
Okay. Final words.
Listen, David, I really appreciate this last hour that we've spent together. I've had a blast, and I really enjoyed being able to talk with you and talk about different things and talk about our books and our likes and dislikes. I've had a blast, and I hope we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, I hope so too. And I'm going to wind it up now. So just sit back and relax.
There you go.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and to support the channel. 10% off today. Whoops, wrong one. There we go. 10% off today. Buy a coffee mug or other items in my Etsy store. And, of course, consider becoming a patron. And I have a second Patreon for RPG material and all the articles and, of course, check out the links in the description below. You'll find Larry's books there first, and all my links. My books are in the link tree in the description, of course. If you'd like to support the channel, buy me a coffee or a meal today. Thank you, and I'll see you all in the next video.